Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on A Lover's Complaint, and today we're going to talk about stanzas 29 to 32, which we have a distraught woman who was in love with the wrong guy, who was beautiful and a great horse rider and seemingly a nice gentleman, but also rather a bit of a player. And she's recounting all of this to an older gentleman who sat down at an appropriate distance from her, hoping that maybe he could help with whatever it was that was ailing her. So we've reached the point in her story where she was like, I tried so hard to resist him, but then people were saying what a great lover he was, and I kind of wanted to sample it for myself, but I tried so hard not to until he started wooing me. And in yesterday's analysis of yesterday's stanzas, she was getting to the point where he starts telling her all of the things that she might want to hear, like he's never been attracted to somebody the way that he's attracted to her. He's never been in love for real before. He's been in lust. And stanza 29 picks up with her recounting what he said to her, to the old gentleman. So this is her pretending to be him. He says, "Look here, what tributes wounded fancy sent me, of pallid pearls and rubies red as blood, figuring that they their passions likewise lent me, of grief and blushes, aptly understood in bloodless white and the encrimsoned mood, effects of terror and dear modesty, encamped in hearts, but fighting outwardly. And lo, behold these talents of their hair, with twisted metal amorously impleached, I received from many a several fair, their kind acceptance weepingly beseeched, with the annexions of fair gems enriched, and deep-brained sonnets that did amplify each stone's dear nature, worth, and quality. The diamond, why, 'twas beautiful and hard, whereto his envised properties did tend. The deep green emerald, in whose fresh regard weak sights their sickly radiance do amend. The heaven-hued sapphire and the opal blend with objects manifold. Each several stone, with wit well blazoned, smiled or made some moan. Lo, all these trophies of affections hot, of pensive and subdued desires the tender, nature hath charged me that I hoard them not, but yield them up where I myself must render, that is, to you, my origin and ender. For these, of force, must your oblations be, since I their altar, you and patron me." So this is more lovely talk on his part that would seem to be the right things to say to woo someone, but if you really think about it from today's perspective, it's perhaps a little bit weird. He had been talking about how he had maybe only been in lust before, but not love, and the fact that women gave themselves to him willingly meant there was no shame in it. And here he's saying, look at all of the stuff that these women have given me. They've given me pearls and rubies and jewels and all this stuff. They've given me locks of their hair that's braided with gold and all these things. He's like, I've gotten so much stuff from all of these people, and every time they give me a thing, they tell me exactly what it's worth. They tell me the history of it, the story of it, what it's supposed to represent, all this sort of thing. And he's like, this is them giving me themselves and their stories and all of this. But then in this last stanza of today's stanzas, stanza 32, he's like, I have all of this stuff that means so much to so many people that they all gave to me, but I'm not supposed to keep it. I'm supposed to give it to you because you own my heart, because you are the altar at which I am now worshiping. So all of these things, all of these amazing jewels, pearls, rubies, diamonds, emeralds, all this stuff that meant so much to so many others, it's just supposed to pass through me to you because I'm yours now, is basically what he's saying in this last stanza. So admittedly, while it's a little bit weird that he's romancing this woman by regifting all sorts of stuff, it's also maybe a little bit romantic. maybe the sort of thing that somebody of that day and age would want to hear, and like, hey, a whole bunch of free jewelry, so that's cool. But anyway, so that's where we are. We know that she eventually gives in. At this point, probably a little bit hard to say no to the guy, which she didn't. But anyway, he's still going to do her wrong at some point. That's why it's called a lover's complaint, and that's why she was ripping up all sorts of stuff and throwing presumably all of this stuff that he had given to her, that he regifted to her, throwing all that in the river, probably because he's going to do her wrong at some point. And we got to figure out exactly how that happened and when. So come on back tomorrow for more. I'll see you then. Mwah.